right. Good morning, everyone, again. If it's morning for you, I'm going to start sharing my screen to show agenda. So we have a couple topics added, and before we go into topics, we need to discuss previous triage week. I see last time it was Leo and Jonathan.
Yep, I can go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing to call out here. Fair bit of answering discussion questions, doing some initial review of new issues, triaging those. But yeah, like I said, nothing specifically that we need to discuss here. I think there was some discussion around Redis license changes as part of a discussion topic, but that appears to still be ongoing. So beyond that one, nothing new. How about Leo?
Yeah, pretty much same for me. I saw one issue, bug report related to server-side diff, something I'd like to dedicate time on. I didn't really find the time to investigate deeper on that one. So not sure if this is the one, Alex.
Okay, yeah, we don't have to search for it right now.
Yeah, but anyways, I know there are some issues with server-side diff right now, and I'd like to again dedicate some time. I need to negotiate that internally, but out of that, nothing special. One thing we discussed recently, well, this week during the maintainers meeting, is a new process for doing triage and discussion. So this is still draft proposal at this point. I'm gonna add the link in the triage section so contributors can take a look. It will be great to have feedback from everyone involved, because if we decide to go that direction, it would change a little bit how we do triage and discussions. So it would be great to get feedback from everyone.
Thanks for reminding about it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I was just saying that's it for me.
Cool. And yeah, so we're still following the old process, so we still need to ask for volunteers for next week. So I'm going to remove selection here, and we need someone who can do triage next week. And there is not.
You can take me if nobody else.
I'm not in the list, but you can add me as secondary. I can write my name.
Wait, there is Jan. Can you please add your name?
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Awesome. Okay, so now we can move to topics. I see there are two of them. One is a question about using strategic merge patch for custom resources. I'm assuming for ignore diffs and respect ignore differences feature.
Yeah. Hi, Alex. Yes,
hello. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I saw your PR getting merged, and thanks for the effort. I was also looking at the same issue for some time, and I was actually stuck at not like the strategic merge patch definitely solves it for the custom the inbuilt Kubernetes resources like deployments and services. But is there any option available for us to use strategic merge patch? Because as far as I know, it doesn't support custom resources.
Mm-hmm. So. I think we both, like me and Leo, we were kind of trying to support it in diffing, and we found it's possible. We just never get time to implement it. I'm thinking of what's the simplest way to show. Probably I will have to open a code quickly to show what I mean. Awesome. Yeah. So literally, like these few lines of code, they create something called patch meta from versioned object. So, and it works only for native Kubernetes resources. But there is also, I mean, this package exposes a way to create this metadata object from Open API schema. And so,
Okay.
and we have Open API schema stored for all CRDs in the cache. So in theory, we can we can check if this object is a built-in Kubernetes object and then keep doing what we're doing. If it's a CRD, we need to see if it's available. I mean, it must have an Open API schema in the cache, and then we can, fall back to this schema in the cache and use it to get the same metadata object. But I think the problem is what I'm showing here is for respect ignore differences feature. So we need to use logic similar to diffing. Basically, in both cases, while we diff resources or trying to respect ignore differences, we need to. So, okay, long story short, I think if we do it, we need to do it in two places now: in normal diffing and here in respect ignore differences feature. If we do it in one place, then the other, we will have like false diffs. Hopefully.
Yeah, this is one thing. Blake was also investigating something around those lines. I know he was discussing with me about possibilities to use, server-side apply to features to support this capability in Argo CD. So this is a ongoing discussion. Maybe Sumia, you want to join that discussion? Maybe
Oh, sure, yeah.
there is a different issue for that.
And this is all makes sense only if we keep using client side. Yeah. If like server side.
Yeah, exactly. Because the problem with this approach, Alex, is what we discussed in the past, right? So the Open API schemas that we have cached in Argo CD are returned from Kubernetes, but they lack they are not complete. So they lack the default value, the default how's it called? Default fields, default values. I don't remember exactly. So the diff is not really precise. So that's why we wanted to go with the server-side diff direction. So we don't have to have any type of logic on the Argo CD side, and we just delegate that for the Kube API to help us to calculate the diff, and that could be used for the for this respect ignore difference as well.
Yeah, and then I guess I have a question for Sumia. So the pull request I worked on recently, it was just a short-term fix for a feature respecting those differences plus arrays. And Sumia, are you trying to basically, we kind of split it into two parts. For one part was completed for normal Kubernetes resources, and are you trying to fix it for CRDs right now? Is it?
Yeah, actually, even I had a branch and I'd pretty much written the same thing. And yeah, I was hoping for like a more internal team discussion because I was working on the test cases that Blake had written in his previous PR, and the ones with the mutating webhook and the Argo rollout, they weren't passing. So I actually wanted to bring it up that can we split it and see what the future options are for like not for custom resources.
Oh, okay. So probably what you're describing, it's like not even related to respect ignore differences.
It's yeah, it is actually the same issue. Yeah, I with the same tags, but mostly I was just very focused on the arrays, like the arrays. If one element of the array is selected, so just exactly how you've described it in this issue, that it should also work.
Yeah, and then my question is like, I'm this was kind of specific because I don't even know if we can do respect ignore differences using server-side diff, because logic is kind of specific to Argo CD. So Kubernetes do not really provide an API to. Yeah, I guess it's just a warning for you. So if you just trying to fix diffing for TRDs, then I would
Not
not even.
exactly. Yeah, so not exactly trying to fix diffing, but our customer, they had a use case that was particular for syncing. So they actually wanted to ignore those differences, like
Got it.
completely, and not get it synced on the cluster itself. So
Okay. Yeah.
diffing is definitely first part of it, but they also didn't want those the target differences shouldn't get synced like at all.
And then
So we also gave them a server-side solution, but they were hesitant to accept that. So ideally, their use case was that within the containers, they have different images, but they have a different CI pipeline that updates those images. And so on their Git or on their target version, they have a different image, and they don't want it to get synced in the cluster. They want what's currently they have applied on the cluster.
And the
So
resource is custom resource, right? It's not deployment.
they have it with deployments. So yeah, your current solution might actually work for them. I
Cool.
actually ran it, so I think it's working. I'll update them on that front.
Awesome.
But yeah, for custom resources, that's why I brought it up. Like, do we have a solution for custom resources as well?
Like open API schema would help. Yeah. Because in this case, like we don't care about defaults. It's mostly about just merging arrays.
Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah. Thanks, Alex. And what if the resource is not there in the open API schema?
Then it just won't work. I mean, in this case, it will do just a merge patch, not strategic. So it will just replace array and then.
JSON merge patch.
Yeah. So in this case, they won't be able to ignore selected elements in array. They would have to ignore the whole array. So.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay.
Thanks.
I think sounds like we're done with this topic. So next topic is from Alexandra.
Yeah. So we had a discussion on the Argo CLI PRs related to multi-source. The naming of the parameters, I think it's like source index, and the index starts actually at 1. So it's written in the doc, but it might be confusing. So we're trying to find better, either decide if we start the index at 0 or find a better name for index. And so far we had ordinal and position. So I was wondering if anyone had suggestions and opinions. We tend to go towards a position, I think.
I'm sorry, I'm not qualified. I kind of can guess what you're talking about, but yeah, I wasn't part of the discussion and need someone else's opinion.
Yeah, you know, I mean it, like it, the you know, the thing is that, so there's a feature coming into the CLI that lets you allow to manipulate any source in a multi-source application. Okay. So and the name of the parameter is, right now it is -- source -- index. So, and you give the index of the source relative to like the first one, the second one, the third one. So and so like initially it was like it was starting at 0, but I personally thought that maybe it should not start at 0 because, you know, well, a programmer starts counting at 0, but maybe someone using the Argo CD CLI may not. And that led to the discussion about the name of the parameter, because index is usually associated with like an index of an array which starts at 0, right? And so, well, that's basically the the discussion. So
Mhm.
like whether we should start the index at 0 or whether we should rename that parameter to not
And-
have the name index in it. So
Mhm.
yeah, well, I'm not very opinionated. So
Yeah, I also I feel like I would be fine with pretty much anything. It's like anything I propose, it's like, oh, I don't have any strong reason why. I personally like position and starting with 1. I don't know why. Just
Quick question on that. Is it deterministic that if we use the number of the position in the list, we're always reaching the expected source, or that can change?
Not sure I
My-
understand.
My question is, this is index-based, right? The multi-source, from what I'm understanding, is index-based. So if we want to provide functionality in the CLI to manipulate one single source in the application resource, providing the index or whatever in the CLI, is it a deterministic approach? So if someone goes and change the order, then how is this user experience is going to be?
Yeah, it's based on the index. So if the order change, the CLI must change accordingly. There's no like source name field
Right.
that could be used for now. I don't know if that could be something to add.
yeah,
Mhm.
that's actually pretty
optional
good
name
idea.
will make sense. Yeah.
Maybe
It's
to add an
it's optional. We need both. Like we need the reference by index or reference by name. So that could be something that's added.
And I think index or position is still safe because users explicitly manage sources. So if users swap sources, then it's also user responsibility to update the index and the CLI. To me,
Agreed.
yeah, makes sense.
Right. I'm thinking more about situations when someone have automation and then they start using the CLI by the index, then someone else changes the order in the source for some reason, and it breaks that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So
that's good thinking.
I also like this proposal to add name, optional name, and in this case, I feel like unless there is automation, maybe name is not even needed. But if someone is building it, then name
That's
will be.
safer.
Yeah.
Good, thank you.
Okay, so looks like we are done with topics for today. Last chance to throw in one more topic, and if not, we can finish meeting a few minutes early. Okay, sounds like we are done today. Thank you, everyone.
Cool. Thanks.
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 See you soon,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you. Bye bye.